Warmest greetings from the Southern Counties Baptist Association, from our staff team, from me and Joth and Dave, from Amy and Claire, from Andrea and from Alison. We particularly want to assure you today of our prayers, but also wherever possible and however possible at this time of our availability. Many of us will have watched the Prime Minister's latest presentation of restrictions that are going to be in place across the UK. Although we saw it coming, there's a bit of us still feeling shocked by just what it means and wondering how long it's going to go on for. For me, it was a sense of the world becoming more and more narrow, of life becoming extremely narrow as well. And I was reminded of the strong connections that there are between what's going on for us in the narrowing of our world and what we often try to remember during Lent and as we approach Holy Week, Jesus' Passion and then his resurrection on Easter Sunday. We remember his way narrowing, and that of course of the disciples who tried to stay close to him as well, their way narrowing, and the distress and the anxiety that they feel as they also sense what's going to happen to Jesus, partly through what he tells them, but partly because it just is contagious, that sort of anxiety. So Jesus' world was narrowing from the hills and the tracks and the lake of Galilee to the gates and the streets and the alleys of Jerusalem. Their world was narrowing from mountain vistas right down to the olive press and the pressure and the anguish of the Garden of Gethsemane. It would include an armed mob coming to arrest Jesus, and it would take Jesus to a kangaroo court, a world that was narrowing. It would include a baying crowd, and also the jostling as Jesus was forced to carry his cross and then finally share it as he followed the way to Golgotha. A world narrowing as his seamless robe is stripped from him and it's swapped instead for a wood-hewn coat and dropped into the ground. A world narrowing as Jesus' body is laid in a mummified wrap. And then finally, through a tombstone wall and to a garden greeting and in a hillside meeting, and an assurance of his authority and presence, the world finally opening out again, with every person in view, a life, truth and way to follow, and a presence promised for you and for me. When our world narrows, we're invited to journey with Jesus, but more importantly, to have him and know him journeying with us in our anxiety and distress, knowing that he has and does pray for us. He tries to prepare the way for us. He talks about leaving them, but not leaving them as orphans. He talks about going away, but leaving the Spirit to accompany them. He talks about even the reality that they will abandon him and be scattered each to their own homes, so that he's left alone, but for them there will be this continuing peace that he promises. This is our God, who wants to stay and be and come alongside each person in whatever anxiety and distress and fear and concerns that we have for ourselves, but of course for our families. This is our God.